When my child was 9, we traveled to Switzerland in August for summer vacation. We first flew, Delta, from Baltimore to New York's JFK Airport to connect to Zurich, Switzerland. While at the JFK Airport lounge, we had a moment to relax before our transatlantic flight. We rented a car at Zurich Airport and checked in at the Ibis Winterthur City. We grabbed a meal at a nearby supermarket, Coop City, and rested for the day. The next morning, we checked out early and headed straight to Burg Hohenklingen. It took about 45 minutes. The view at Burg Hohenklingen was stunning. The weather was clear and sunny, and the scenery was stunning, which made the experience even more enjoyable. The view alone made the trip worthwhile. Stein am Rhein is a medieval town along the river, known as the Jewel of the Rhine, and just a 7-minute drive from Burg Hohenklingen. You can admire many 15th-century frescoes as you stroll through the charming medieval streets of the old town. Next, drive from Stein am Rhein to Lucerne, which is about an hour and a half away. You can park in the underground garage at Lucerne station, then head directly to Kapellbruck. We crossed the Chapel Bridge, Kapellbruck, and took a leisurely stroll around the area. It took about 13 minutes to walk from Kapellbruck to the Lion Monument, Lohendenkmal. We drove for about 1 hour and 40 minutes from Lucerne to our second night's accommodation, Hotel Ibis Bulle la Gruyère. The next day, we drove from Hotel Ibis Bulle la Gruyère to the parking area in the village of Gruyères, where we could explore the village on foot. We were deeply moved by the beauty of the village from the moment we entered. If you walk up, you'll reach the Château de Gruyères, where you can take in the beautiful views. We reserved a lunch at Chalet de Gruyères. Gruyères, known as the cheese village, is a must-visit for cheese fondue lovers. The potatoes and vegetables were delicious, and the cheese fondue was impressively rich and flavorful, different from the fondue we had. Highly recommended. A 30-minute drive from Gruyères brings you to Fribourg, a town that beautifully preserves its medieval charm. We parked on the street and walked down into the lower part of the town. Every corner of the village was uniquely and beautifully preserved, maintaining its historical charm and character. You can take a photo with a beautiful view of the Cathedral of St. Nicholas. As you walk back up through the village, you'll come across the Fribourg City Hall. You can see the old town from the Pont du Milieu, offering a beautiful and scenic view. Another 30-minute drive north from Fribourg will take you to the Swiss capital, Bern. We arrived in Bern and had lunch at the Altes Tramdepot Brauerei restaurant, which offers a beautiful river view. I highly recommend a visit for the scenery alone. You can go down to the river to sit and sunbathe. The water has an emerald color from the melting glaciers and is very cold. From the Altes Tramdepot Brauerei Restauranten, we walked to the Zicklag Clock Tower. The buildings in the city center along the way were charming. We walked about 4 minutes from the Zicklag to the observation deck of the Cathedral of Bern, the Berner Münster, where we were rewarded with a stunning view of the entire city. We drove from Bern to Valley Hostel in Lauterbrunnen, our accommodation for the third night, in about an hour. That day, we bought ingredients nearby and cooked at the hostel. The surroundings were beautiful, and the hostel itself was clean and comfortable. On the morning of the fourth day, we explored the area around Lauterbrunnen. This mountain location was incredibly refreshing and peaceful. The following morning, we went up to Jungfraujoch early. After checking the weather on www.jungfrau.ch, we bought Jungfraujoch Top of Europe tickets from Lauterbrunnen for around €106 per person. At Jungfraujoch Top of Europe, you can buy cup noodles and other food. On the way back down from Jungfraujoch Top of Europe to Lauterbrunnen Station. On the way back down from Jungfraujoch Top of Europe to Lauterbrunnen Station, we saw people are hiking. We decided to get off one stop before the final station. The walk down to our accommodation in Lauterbrunnen was beautiful and refreshing. I highly recommend the hike. On the way back down, the village of Lauterbrunnen starts to come into view. Back near our accommodation in Lauterbrunnen, we went to the hotel restaurant Schutzen for a cold beer and a refreshing drink. After hiking for over an hour, the beer tasted especially good. The next day, we drove about 20 minutes to Grindelwald and had coffee and dessert at the CUNDM Café Bar restaurant, which has since closed. The view outside was stunning. The coffee and cake at CUNDM Café Bar restaurant were fresh and delicious. The view from inside CUNDM Café Bar restaurant was breathtaking. From CUNDM Café Bar restaurant, it's a 7-minute walk to Montbel. We enjoyed walking around the town of Grindelwald. Grindelwald was such a lovely town as well. We drove to Interlaken, just 15 minutes from Lauterbrunnen, and stopped by the Migros supermarket Interlaken. We bought some food for lunch, and my child chose Swiss ice cream. Prices in Switzerland are quite high, but the food sold by weight at the supermarket is relatively affordable. We stopped by the famous Swiss chocolate shop Laderack, just a 6-minute walk from Migros supermarket Interlaken, and tried some chocolate. It was rich and delicious. We returned to Lauterbrunnen and ended the day by hiking up to the waterfall. We mostly cooked at our accommodation, and the Swiss vegetables and ingredients were so fresh and high quality that we really enjoyed our meals. After our trip in Switzerland, we headed to Milan, Italy. Before going to our accommodation in Milan, we decided to stop by Grimsel to take in the alpine scenery. Driving a BMW across the Alps was an unforgettable experience. We wanted to see the spectacular view of Grimsel Pass, so we trusted the navigation and kept driving. But as we climbed higher, fog engulfed the narrow road next to the cliff, and we couldn't see anything, so we just kept going. We were so scared that we could barely manage to drive. Thankfully, we arrived at our accommodation in Milan safely, but it was not an easy journey for a first-time traveler crossing the Alps. Now that we think about it, we wonder when else we would have had the courage to do it. This trip, which lasted about a week touring the beautiful cities of Switzerland and reaching the Alps, is truly unforgettable. We went in August, and the weather was perfect. My family isn't particularly outdoorsy, but the picturesque Swiss scenery made us happy even without doing much. Switzerland is expensive, so we kept our spending low, but the joy from the scenery made it a country we'd love to visit again. If you're concerned about the costs, I recommend staying in a hostel, which is very clean and well maintained. I also suggest taking a leisurely walk or hike in the stunning scenery during the summer when the weather is nice. You'll feel like you're in heaven.